Alright, so I got the boat flipped over. The first thing I'm going to address is these holes here and cracks are all going to get epoxied all around here. This was when I took the wood off that was originally with the boat, so I don't know if that wood's going to go back on or if I'm going to use something else. I've got something else in mind. These here, I'm going to take that out. I think that has something to do with the self-bailing system, but I don't know enough to say that it does for sure. But I'm gonna cap those and then epoxy some of the cracks in the floor. Up front, probably not going to put the seat back in. I'm gonna look for a cooler or a storage locker of some sort that is maybe V-shaped that can fit in here, and I can put in life jackets and the other things like a horn for the boat. So we'll see where that takes us. But other than that, like I said, the epoxying I'll be doing will end up looking like this right here with the JB welds in all the holes, not here because this is what the transom silver no parking looking signs goes. I'm gonna get to work on cleaning it up first, and then I might drill a hole here and there with a drill bit to prevent the cracking from getting any worse, and then fill that in. So we'll see where it takes us. A while ago, they just used silicone to fix and then recover with the wood, so surprises we find. Alright, so at the end of these cracks, I drilled a hole to prevent them from cracking further. So I know it's not like preferable to add holes to your boat, but that should stop the stress fracture from getting worse. You can see I did that over there too. So I'm going to fill the holes with JB Weld. So now I'm going to mix these two into here. That's what JB Weld is, a two-part epoxy. Stir it up and then we'll apply it to the boat. Alright, all the cracks and holes that need to be plugged have been hit with JB Weld. Feels like it's going to storm in a minute. Okay, it's the next day and my JB Weld has dried. I don't think I'm going to put the wood back on here if I didn't mention that. I think I'm either going to leave it alone or when I say leave it alone, I mean I'm going to put a second coat of JB Weld on here and kind of fur out the larger gaps that are here. So I could refinish the wood that was on here because it was pretty bad. Or I could put on some rubber, cut it to the same shape as it, or I may just spray on a texture on this area and over here on these sides, like a spray texture, and paint over it white. I'm going to take these, two of these that I took off the inside of the boat. I'm going to trace them onto here. This is sheets of, or pieces of some thicker aluminum. And then I'm going to probably just going to make them square. I'm not going to make them oval like the shape of that. I'll just make them the width so that they fit in there and keep them square, and then use these 2 holes as a template. Then I'm going to take this piece of old floor mat that I saved, make a gasket. Well, not using that. Using this, I'll make a gasket and I'll seal it up. I really can't get a Sharpie inside of here, so I'm just making circles with this little bit. I don't know if you can see really small here, really small here, the circles that it's making. So I'm going to trace those out, find a bit that from here that matches the size of the plastic, drill through, and then I'll cut the rubber liner out of this floor mat. Alright, so I made the gasket out of the floor mat that I found laying around, and then the covers here. These are not the original screws. The original screws weren't flat here. They were kind of beveled, so I didn't feel like beveling out these holes. I wanted to make a flush contact with them. And I'm going to take the silicone, put it around the circle. I forgot to mention that in doing this, let's see here, that's not going to cover that way. I don't like this. In doing this, make sure that you use stainless steel hardware or aluminum so it doesn't corrode with water and it doesn't react. If you use different kinds of metal, they sometimes create corrosion between themselves. They don't get along very well. So if I'm being honest, let's take a look at this. This doesn't meet up as well as I'd like it to over that hole. I probably should have made it a little bit bigger, but I'll get paintable acrylic caulking, make a gasket around here, and I'll hit these along with the washer I made for the bow with self-etching primer, and then I'll get painted over with the color of the interior, which is white. So the reason I'm using this bath and tub caulking is it's acrylic and it's paintable. Otherwise, if you go to paint over caulking, the paint will not stick to it.